Alright, YouTube, so another political video. If you've been keeping up with national headlines, you would have known that Alabama has just enacted sort of a strange voter ID law. And after this has happened, and blaming it on coincidence and their very, very bad management of money in the state of Alabama, have gone and decided to close driver's license bureaus in 10 of the most non-white counties of Alabama. This comes as more of a suspicion once you realize that in Alabama you need photo identification in order to vote. This could be racially motivated because, as said before, these counties that have their license bureaus shut down are predominantly non-white, 75% non-white registered voters. And on top of that, these counties seem to vote more, or more apt to vote for a Democratic candidate, which comes as no surprise in itself because of Alabama's history and Alabama's relative geographic location in the United States. It is a Bible Belt state, so there might be some religious values into play. So not only is this somewhat of a racist law, this is also a very, very, very unconstitutional law once you look deeper into it, because most of these counties are highly Democratic by vote. I feel that this will probably get struck down in Supreme Court rulings. We've seen this before not too long ago, when just after the Supreme Court found there was that gay marriage was constitutionally sound, making it unconstitutional to make any laws, I guess you could say, discriminating against homosexual marriage. But one last thing we need to take into account here. This is not a sign of racism prevailing, Christianity in the court prevailing. This is a sign of their last hope. Just as in the Reagan eras, do you think that these fucking fringe-ass fundamentalist people gave a shit about politics prior to the 80s? No, they realized that they were about to be wiped out of social existence for the most part, got out of the boonies, and then rallied and, had conservatives up the wazoo for a decade. Then they fell further once more once people started to realize that most of the candidates that were conservative Christians were totally fucking inept at managing the country. One last thing, people are very surprised that I don't have some of these same draconian outlooks on life, because most of my family actually comes from these states. I have family from central Missouri, very boony area, Lebanon area, highly Protestant, very highly Baptist and Protestant. Most of my family comes from Bristol County, West Virginia. We're talking about the literal hillbilly capital of Appalachia here. My family there still uses like outhouses, very limited, no internet, and they've just recently gotten TV with like the normal 6-channel satellite type TV. So, no cable television. It's literally like a third world country there. Protestantism runs rampant there. They have some backwards draconian views. They seem to not have a really, really, really sound view of the world, because anything they've ever learned about the outside world seems to come from the churches they visit. And last but not least, from my mother's side, most of my family either comes from here in Indiana or some place near Birmingham, Alabama. Birmingham bombings. I don't think racism is as prevalent in the South as it is here in the Midwest. It's really bad here in the Midwest. I live in one of the most segregated places in the country. That's about it. Peace out, YouTube. Have yourself a fantastic afternoon, people.